Silence, all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Hala Awad.
May it please the court, I move that Hala Awad be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hala Awad be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jordan Timothy Keith Baird.
May it please the court, I move that Jordan Timothy Keith Baird be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jordan Timothy Keith Baird be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sally Kathleen Harrington Bennett.
May it please the court, I move that Sally Kathleen Harrington Bennett be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sally Kathleen Harrington Bennett be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dylan McDermott Brew.
May it please the court, I move that my son, Dylan McDermott Brew, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Dylan McDermott Brew be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jessica Grace Campbell.
May it please the court, I move that Jessica Grace Campbell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jessica Grace Campbell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tiffany Chan.
May it please the court, I move that Tiffany Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tiffany Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yingwei David Chan.
May it please the court, I move that Yingwei David Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yingwei David Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alana Ellie Chimeruk.
May it please the court, I move that Alana Illy Shamrook be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alani Ellie Chamuk be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Philippa Jean Clark.
May it please the court, I move that Philippa Jean Clark be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Philippa Jean Clark be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Georgia Lily Condell.
May it please the court, I move that Georgia Lily Condell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Georgia Lily Condell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Philippa Lee Cranfield.
May it please the court, I move that Philippa Lee Cranfield be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Philippa Lee Cranfield be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ronald Quintana Credo.
May it please the court, I move that Ronald Quintana Credo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ronald Quintana Credo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin L. O'Connor Crow.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin L. O'Connor Crow be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin L. O'Connor Crow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Pearl Marie Garrad Davidson.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Pearl Marie Garrad Davidson, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Pearl Marie Garrad Davidson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kimberly Sarah DaCosta.
May it please the court, I move that my sister, Kimberly Sarah DaCosta, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kimberly Sarah DaCosta be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Frances D. DeSalle.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Frances de Dassel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Frances de Dassel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lisa Karen Dixon.
May it please the court, I move that Lisa Karen Dixon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lisa Karen Dixon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christina Emmanuel.
May it please the court, I move that Christina Emmanuel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Christina Emmanuel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Siobhan Gale Foe.
May it please the court, I move that Siobhan Gale Foe be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Siobhan Gale Foe be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandra Lily Gassner.
May it please the court, I move that Alexandra Lily Gassner be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Alexandra Lily Gassner be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Abina Asadua Gore.
May it please the court, I move that Abina Asadua Gao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Abina Asadua Gao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Pia Francesca Gonzalez.
May it please the court, I move that Pia Francesca Gonzalez be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Pia Francesca Gonzalez be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shannon Lee Hathayer.
May it please the court, I move that Shannon Lee Hathier be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Shannon Lee Hathier be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rebecca Ann Henry.
May it please the court, I move that Rebecca Ann Henry be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Rebecca Ann Henry be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Karen Elise Jennings.
May it please the court, I move that Karina Elise Jennings be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Karina Elise Jennings be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yusra Bibi Jingo.
May it please the court, I move that Yusra Bibi Jean Gore be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Yusra Bibi Jinjor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kathia Kalasanathan.
May it please the court, I move that Kathia Kalasanathan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Kathia Kalasanathan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandra Ella Patricia Kerr.
May it please the court, I move that Alexandra Ella Patricia Kerr be admitted as the lawyer of this honourable court.
That Alexandra Ella Patricia Kerr be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mohammed Abra Khan.
May it please the court, I move that Mohammed Abra Khan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Mohammed Abra Khan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Belinda Singh Kinder.
May it please the court, I move that Belinda Singh Kinder be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Belinda Singh Kinder be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jason Bongyu Kim.
May it please the court, I move that Jason Bongyu Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jason Bongyu Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
June Lee.
May it please the court, I move that June Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let June Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Timothy Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Timothy Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Timothy Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Vivian Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Vivian Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Vivian Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carissa May Ma.
May it please the court, I move that Carissa May Ma be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Carissa May Ma be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jared Martin McAvilly.
May it please the court, I move that Gerard Martin McKevely be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jared Martin McKevely, lawyer of this court.
Lisa Louise Meisky.
May it please the court, I move that Lisa Louise Meisky be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Lisa Louise Meisky be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Cecile Morgan.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Cecile Morgan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Cecile Morgan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stelios Papanikoulis.
the court, I move that Stelios Papanikolaou be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Stelios Papanikolaou be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Fan,
May I please the court and move my son Michael Fan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Fan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Veronica Ann Stevens,
May it please the court, I move that Veronica Ann Stevens be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Veronica Ann Stevens be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Jungmin Su,
May it please the court, I move that Isabel Chungmin Su be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabel Chungmin Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel John David Thomas Broom,
May it please the court, I move that Daniel John David Thomas Broom be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel John David Thomas Broom be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Noah David Vaz,
May it please the court, I move that Noah David Vaz be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Noah David Vaz be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Menika Velasamy,
May it please the court, I move that Menika Velasamy be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Menaga Velasamy be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jeffrey Michael Walker,
May it please the court, I move that Jeffrey Michael Walker be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jeffrey Michael Walker be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nina Elizabeth Watmow,
May it please the court, I move that Nina Elizabeth Watmow be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nina Elizabeth Watmow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jasmine Wong,
May it please the court, I move that Jasmine Wong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jasmine Wong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David Yao,
May it please the court, I move that David Yao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let David Yao be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joanna Zhao,
May it please the court, I move that Joanna Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joanna Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will now be necessary for the applicants whose admission has just been moved to stand as directed by the officiating officer and remain standing for the purposes of swearing an oath or making a declaration or affirmation. So please, as directed, stand when your row is called.
the first two rows please stand. Hala Awad, Jordan Timothy Keith Baird, Sally Kathleen Harrington Bennett, Dylan McDermott Brew, Jessica Grace Campbell, Tiffany Chan, Yingwei David Chan, Alana Ellie Chimerick, Philippa Jean Clark, Georgia Lily Condell, Philippa Lee Cranfield, Ronald Quintana Credo, Caitlin L. O'Connor Crow, Pearl Marie Garrett Davidson, Kimberly Sarah DaCosta, Madeline Frances de Dassel. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Would you please be seated? Would the next two rows please stand? Lisa Karen Dixon, Christina Emanuel, Siobhan Gail Foe, Alexandra Lily Gassner, Abina Asadua Gall, Pia Francesca Gonzalez, Shannon Lee Hathayer, Rebecca Ann Henry, Karina Elise Jennings, Yusra Bibi Jengo, Karthia Kalisa Nathan, Alexandra Ella Patricia Kerr, Mohammed Abra Khan, Belinda Singh Kinder, Jason Bongyu Kim, June Lee, Timothy Lee, Vivian Lee, Carissa May Ma, Jared Martin McEverly, Lisa Louise Maisky. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? I do. Would you please be seated? Would the final two rows please stand? Madeline Cecile Morgan, Stelios Papanikolaou, Michael Fan, Veronica Ann Stevens, Isabel Chung-Min Soo, Daniel John David Thomas Broom, Noah David Vaz, Menika Velasamy, Jeffrey Michael Walker, Nina Elizabeth Watmo, Jasmine Wong, David Yao, Joanna Zhu. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? I do. Would you please be seated?
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales this afternoon. Present with me on the bench today, to my immediate right, Justice Sakar; to my immediate left, Justice Stevenson; to Justice Sakar's immediate right, Justice Henry, all judges of the Equity Division of the Supreme Court. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. We've done so in this, the Banco court, which is the ceremonial court, but is also a working court of the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court and this courtroom, of course, stand on land for which the Gadigal of the Eora Nation have cared for thousands of years. And the court, and I personally pay my respects to the Gadigal elders, past, present, and emerging, and extend those respects sincerely to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. In the spirit of the Uluru Statement from the Heart, which looks forward to a fuller expression of Australian nationhood with great dignity, we acknowledge, as we must, the regrettable reality that this nation's laws and legal systems have so often in the past delivered the opposite of or less than justice to our First Nations peoples. To all of the newly admitted lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession and congratulations. Today is one for great celebration. We know that you have all worked extremely hard to get to this stage. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, wafer-thin pages of textbooks, computer screens, and more cases than you could possibly hope to remember. And for most of you, your journey has involved two extraordinarily challenging final years affected by the pandemic. And so you have faced and come through an additional adversity on top of the real hurdles of becoming admitted as a lawyer. Hurdles which are there to test your skill and ability, which you have all succeeded. But to have come through the pandemic as well makes your achievements even more impressive, and you're to be congratulated for that. The resilience you've no doubt developed, I hope, will serve you well into the future. In being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you join a profession of very ancient origins the custom of advocates swearing an oath or on admission to practice, as you have just done, or an affirmation, dates back to the 12th century. And this court first admitted lawyers to practice as long ago as 1824. By 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, as you will do immediately after this ceremony. And so you have thus now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Now, I know perhaps for some of you, at least for your family and friends, that may seem how long you've been studying, but in any event. I'm also pleased in that context, though, to welcome to the court and also to those who may be following this on the live stream, those friends and family supporters of yours who have supported you through the journey. That support, I'm sure, has been invaluable. No doubt they have been, from time to time, on the receiving ends of your either finely polished or developing skills of argument and persuasion, and you should take time to thank them. Depending on how good an advocate you have become, you might even convince them to shout you dinner tonight. Now, the law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all, you the newly admitted lawyers, in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation that you have just made is a serious one and deserves solemn regard, whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, for legal aid, in a Crown Law office, a government department or agency, or in an entirely different field. You should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and you must strive at all times to uphold these cardinal values. That's because not only the right thing to do, but admission to the legal profession is a privilege. It's not a right. It's in acknowledgement of the weighty responsibility that you have undertaken that we observe today's unique formalities, including the fact that your admissions have been moved by someone who is already a member of the profession, and also by the fact that you have stood and made your formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family, of your peers, and indeed of the members of the bench. We and they have all been witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made in swearing the oath or making the affirmation. Now, as to formality, you will see from some of the portraits of former Chief Justices hanging on the walls of this court that they are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, that we are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. Symbolically, there's a reason for that. It highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales over, as I have said, almost 200 years. In a world in which there is much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, and not simply a theoretical or abstract phrase. The rule of law is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. And we know from very recent history that there is nothing theoretical about the rise of autocratic dictators and populists. Now, although we mark this occasion with the formality and tradition of which I have spoken, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. The pandemic caused us to pivot, a modern popular word, to shift rapidly to the increased use of technology in the courtroom with video hearings, and we were at pains to seek to ensure that access to justice continued and the courts remained open during the pandemic. Challenges, of course, arose in that radical transition as they arose at every level of society, but we got through them and new opportunities have presented themselves, including greater workplace flexibility, which we recognise is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities. Better use of technology has also had profound implications for how our legal system interacts with and may become accessible to many people not able to attend a court in person, whether they be in rural or remote areas, have a disability or other impediments which preclude their attendance. But although the increased use of technology has offered a number of advantages, I have to say this, that is that the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, how others react to different situations, perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And that human dimension, which I'll speak a little more of later, also means, I think, that justice is best served in person. As I said in my recent swearing-in speech as Chief Justice, while the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. Now, of course, we've had lots of other changes in the legal profession, in addition to those brought about by the pandemic, which warrant comment. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter something of a duality. On the one hand, we have come actually a very long way in the last 2 decades, but on the other hand, we recognise that much still remains to be done. But let me give you an example of progress. For a long time in this state, women were not even allowed to practice law, even if they were qualified to do so. But since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with practicing certificates in New South Wales, and half of the local court of New South Wales, which is the largest operating court in the country, has achieved gender parity in terms of the magistracy. In the age bracket of solicitors under 30, 2/3 are young women. And women also occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including the Chief Justice of Australia, the Chief Justice of Queensland, the ACT Victoria, the Federal Director of Public Prosecutions, the State Director of Public Prosecutions, and in this court, the President of the Court of Appeal, one of whose predecessors was the Honourable Margaret Beazley, currently the state's Governor. But there should not only be gender diversity, but also strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community in Australia. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system can and feel that they can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective and reflecting our broader community. The admissions ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge some 3.5 years ago, including this ceremony, highlight to me that there is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I first commenced practice, and that is a very good thing. You, the newly admitted lawyers, are also in a unique and strong position as you enter the legal profession, because you do so at a time when, more than ever, your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, a particular case, systemic failings affecting society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures with wholly inappropriate sexual harassment or bullying. You, as lawyers, should speak up for the things you believe in. That is the tradition of lawyers, taking stands on matters of principle and having the courage of your convictions to stand up and espouse and fight for, contend for just outcomes. I'm sure that many of you here will do that. I would also urge you to engage with your communities outside the law, but using the skills, your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including procedural fairness, to assist in the engagement of community organisations. Your skills will be greatly appreciated, and that extracurricular engagement and contribution will be a source of great satisfaction to you and great benefit to the community. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice, I hope. As a lawyer, you will often need to make difficult, often very difficult ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. And one mistake in this context you must not make is to give your clients the advice you think they want to hear. I can tell you now that that will not be good advice. Justice Gageler, before he was a distinguished High Court judge, said, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the questioning, the asking may occur." Now that, as you might expect from Justice Gageler, is very sound advice indeed. Being a lawyer means that you are now an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum or as an abstract concept, but the law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer is in most cases an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, family, children, personal well-being or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competently and fiercely, yes, but always with courtesy, integrity and respect. And the respect must not only extend to your clients, but in an adversarial context to your opponents and their clients. That is what civility is all about. Aspects of the law, especially if you're involved in litigation, are necessarily confrontational. The practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. So it's essential, difficult, but essential that you maintain your detachment, balance, and good humour. Remember at all times that you are members of a profession and not a business. There is a real distinction. And remember that the best advocates can and do make their points simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges, I might add, including myself, could also use that reminder from time to time. For a non-lawyer, law is often, and I think frequently, incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to your clients, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, but most times simply explaining in intelligible, accessible language what people's rights and obligations, duties and responsibilities are. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. In this speech, I like to mention a topic which seems odd on an occasion such as this, but it's the topic of failure. There will inevitably be quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. The law tends to attract such types. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all make mistakes from time to time, especially when we're starting off on something new. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice. When you do, if and when you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn. Also important, is your physical and mental health. That was not recognised when we started practice in the profession. There is a much better appreciation of the importance of both physical but particularly mental health, and you must take care of yourself. There may be, and I dare say will be, times in the practice of law when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can be all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. Now, there's a reason for that. It's because lawyers will often want to go the extra mile for their clients. They'll often want to ensure that no stone is left unturned, that they've exhausted the research they can do to get to the bottom of the case to assist their client. And all of that is admirable, but it is demanding and it is tiring. So you must work hard to keep your balance and keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time, and speaking for myself, still do, try to take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to some of your colleagues that they do so as well. In this context, though, you should know or remember that the law in this state is a highly collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support and friendship of your professional peers will prove invaluable. For those solicitors or barristers, the Law Society and the Bar Association are very supportive institutions, well attuned to the rigours and demands of practice, and they are there to help, and particularly to help young lawyers starting out. Now, may I say this to you all in closing? The law is a wonderful profession. It's stimulating, it's challenging, it's satisfying. It's populated by intelligent, committed, and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date, and you should remain proud to be a lawyer. It is a very, very important profession which is at the core of holding the fabric of our society together. That shouldn't be taken for granted, and you are now integral players and participants in that social cohesion. A legal career is one that can take you in many different directions, all of which are interesting and rewarding. So hold your heads high, and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of all of the judges of the Supreme Court, including Justice Sacker, Justice Stevenson, Justice Henry, and myself, let me once again congratulate you all on your admission to practice and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.